I'm Joy Foss, the founder of Tech Pixies, and you are listening to the Sparkle and Thrive podcast. And this is Beth Kirk. She has been with Tech Pixies as a coach for several years now. I feel like we're going into our fourth year working together. And the students love you. I love you. You have really niched into LinkedIn and become our LinkedIn expert. So tell us what's going on in 2022. When we spoke in 2021, we talked about getting your messaging right, your direct messaging right. And I think that was a great tip. We talked about setting up your profile properly. We dabbled a little bit in a conversation around premium. But one of the things we both complained about was we made our live applications in 2020, probably in 2020. They were not approved in 2021. And then finally, mine got approved. And I remember emailing you like, Beth, it got approved. And I've now gone live we're on live right now on LinkedIn, and we've been live on LinkedIn.
Are we going out on LinkedIn as well? Oh, that's very exciting.
Yeah, we're live on LinkedIn. We're live on YouTube, and we're live on Facebook right now.
We're everywhere.
So I am so excited that I got it. Now, do you have live on LinkedIn now?
I do, Joy. And I only got it in October of last year. So I'd applied for it 5 times. I left a bit of time between each application, and I finally got it in October. But I think I got it, Joy, because I went into creator mode, which is one of the exciting things I want to talk to you about. But there has been so much happening on LinkedIn in 2021. I feel like I have loads to kind of talk about. But yeah, I did. I got LinkedIn Live. I'd been a guest on other lives, and I've now got it myself. So I was planning to start actually a LinkedIn Live series, but it's been slightly put back because we've had COVID in our household. So I have a plan, which I'm really excited about, actually. But I have been live with another Tech Pixie, Kirsty from Open Doors Consultancy. And we had a great time. And so I'm excited about live. I'm also excited about audio, which is that's literally landed in the last couple of weeks. I want to talk to you about that as well. So,
all right, well, hit me up. So tell me what the 2022 trends are, so that we're up to speed.
Okay, so first of all, let's start with audio, because that's really new, and I think that's actually really exciting. Now I'll put my hands up. I wasn't a Clubhouse user. I know a lot of people on LinkedIn were. It was definitely a place where I saw a lot of the people, what I would call the influencers on LinkedIn. They were going on to Clubhouse. But then there are also lots of people that didn't as well, because at the end of the day, it was another platform, another place to kind of put, to spread yourself onto. So I didn't go there. But obviously audio has been a big trend across social media. So Twitter Spaces, I know Facebook has done something with audio, but for it to come out on LinkedIn, I kind of feel like that really works. I think that will sit really quite naturally with the platform, because
that would make sense, I think, probably because a lot of people in business who are in offices do have LinkedIn open during the day. And actually, if there is audio, it's almost like, I think that's what Clubhouse became, was the ability to have your own radio show anytime you wanted it. And I think, so is that what you think will be happening with LinkedIn? What kind of audio is happening already?
Yeah, because events became much more common in 2021.
I started getting invitations to events.
Yeah, so events landed late 2020. So events landed in 2020, but in 2021, I feel like events, really started happening on LinkedIn. So events, I get regularly invited to networking events, whether they're in person or online on LinkedIn. I've joined events on LinkedIn.
So walk us through events, because actually, it is interesting, because some of them, have I got it wrong, some of them are paid events and some of them aren't.
They can be. So you can drive awareness of a paid event. If you have a paid event, you can drive awareness of it through LinkedIn. So I work with a client who was actually running a launch. So she was running a launch, and part of her launch was webinars. So, it's a common way for course creators to get people into their programs, as you know, Joy. And she ran a launch, and we put it out. We put the webinar out as an event on LinkedIn. And we didn't invite all of her network. She actually has a really big network. We didn't do the kind of tick all box, which you can do. So if I wanted to hold a webinar about LinkedIn, I could literally create the event, put all the information in the blurb in, and then I could tick the box that would invite all of my network, or you can selectively invite people. And it was, for her, that actually worked really, really well. We were looking for certain people that we felt that the webinar would appeal to. So for that particular client. I think they work brilliantly for networking. I think they can work, if you want to run a masterclass. I think
is it run in LinkedIn or is it run externally, the event?
You put a link in. So you have the option to put your link. So you can put your link in. So with live, you need to put in StreamYard. So you need to actually put in a third-party link. But with events, we've put in Zoom links. So, there's plenty of different options there. Now, I think the other nice thing about events is that, you can go and you can see who else is attending the events. You can interact within the event, the creation of the event itself, which is quite similar to a Facebook event page. You can see who's going. You can maybe spark conversations. For me, that would be a great conversation prompter. If you go and have a look at an event that you've said that you're going to attend on LinkedIn, so you've been invited to it and you say you're going to attend, you could go to the people who are attending that event and you could start to have some conversations beforehand. So again, you use the direct messages, and
you're interested in the same thing, so it would make sense because you're networking in that way.
Yeah.
So how does audio and events, what's the connection there?
So basically, the way that you can find audio events, and this has literally come out in the last couple of weeks, and I attended my first one yesterday. So I literally just I typed in audio into the search bar of LinkedIn. Then I clicked on the events tab, and it showed me a whole bunch of audio events. And there was a brilliant one on yesterday. It was about building your personal brand on LinkedIn. So I clicked that I was going to join it and attend it. I got a reminder that, the event was about to start. And then when I was in the event, it was really exciting. It's quite similar to Clubhouse. There's a panel, and you raise your hand, or you can you can send, kind of the emoji reactions, and you can get invited up onto that panel. And actually, for me, I liked that audio experience, but I'm quite a big podcast fan. So I think if you're a fan of podcasting, I think you might like audio. And I do see it taking off, because I just think, because Clubhouse and LinkedIn were quite well aligned, I felt that there were a lot of people who are LinkedIn users going and sharing their thought leadership over on and talking a lot about LinkedIn on Clubhouse. Yeah. So I think this works. I do think it works, and I think I would encourage people to go and have a play. I'm actually going to.
Clubhouse introduced like the playback, which they didn't have initially. Everything was live. There was no recording. There was no playback. Now you can play back something you've missed. Yeah. What's the story with audio on LinkedIn?
I don't think that functionality is there. You can go back to an event. So if you've said you're going to attend an event, you can go back and see see that. So I've done that with LinkedIn live events, but I don't know yet if you can do that on audio. I just think the audio is, I think it's another way to spark up conversations with people. It's another way to connect. I've had 2 connection requests this morning from people who were also at that audio event. And you can directly click into people's profiles.
That's very Clubhouse.
While you're on, yeah.
I find it fascinating how, like, the competition, when people create something, then they can, because the engineers are so clever, they can basically replicate it. And it's just a lot of, coming up with an idea and then rolling that idea out. And I'm sure there's lots of, legal lawsuits in the background as to whose IP is what. And,
I just hope that it stays. I mean, I was listening to one LinkedIn expert the other day, and he was predicting, he was going through the predictions for LinkedIn for this year. And he was talking really positively about audio, but then at the same time he said maybe it won't be around at the end of the year because LinkedIn does that. It will sometimes launch features and then do away with them quite quickly.
Well, I'll tell you one feature that I totally stopped using because it came really spammy a couple of years ago. I mean, I haven't used it in years, is the LinkedIn Groups feature. What's happening with that? Is it dead or is it still happening?
Yeah, I do think LinkedIn groups are worthwhile if you find the right group. So I'm in a group and it's brilliant. I get a lot out of it. I will pop in there at least once every week, and I would post in there as well. I think you've just got to pick your groups carefully, smaller groups, groups that are active with good value content. Not, there's countless groups that are thousands and thousands and thousands of members, like in them, and there's nothing happening in them, or there's just spammy content being churned out. So I think, it's worth looking at groups that may well be having nice, valuable conversations around, what you need, the topic that you're interested in, or your particular niche, or your particular area. I definitely think it's worth exploring. A few years back, I remember when I first started out on my kind of digital journey, I was trying to find groups for a client I was working with, and we couldn't find anything. It was just, they were all really big, really massive, not really having any form of quality conversation. But I think if you do find the right group, or if you don't have the right group, maybe you start the right group, like that's, if there's a group that you think that could add value to your audience and you want to be a part of that conversation, and you have the thought leadership, or you have the content behind you, why not start a group, invite some selected people into it and see what happens. It's all about trying these things and experimenting.
Well, let's talk about LinkedIn Learning and LinkedIn certificates. In fact, Lisa, who is our head of design at TechFixie, she says she got a LinkedIn certificate in Photoshop this year. I've noticed that there is a lot of learning popping up on LinkedIn. Is that all connected into events, or is that something totally separate?
Well, I think that's totally separate. LinkedIn Learning, you have to be on premium to be able to access it. And actually, but I would encourage listeners now, if they want to try out LinkedIn Learning, you can take out a free month of LinkedIn Premium, and if you're going to do that, then I would recommend that you do it with a plan. And you can then go into LinkedIn Learning and could really upskill yourself, because there's some brilliant quality courses in there. And regular users of the platform will also sometimes see that LinkedIn unlocks courses for a limited period of time. So last year on International Women's Day, they unlocked 5 courses for women. So if you spot that, and it will be shared by various different people on the platform, or you might see an ad for it. That will be shared and you'll see it, and it's, jump on that, because it's, they're unlocking them for free, and they will then lock them back up again. Because I know there was one that I once earmarked because I was like, I really want to do that course and it's free. And then when I went back, I couldn't, because it had only been unlocked for like maybe 5 days or a week. So it is worth looking out for those opportunities. But, if you really want to tap into LinkedIn Learning and make a plan for it, then maybe try out the premium subscription free for 30 days and give it a go.
And what are some of the other benefits of premium? I mean, it's becoming something that's more used probably than it was before. It's a more attractive offer now. Is premium worth it?
I don't use premium, Joy. I don't, and part of the reason for that is because I think there are so many great opportunities and so much organic growth opportunity with LinkedIn without being paid. And, and I'm really upfront and honest about that, because I think there are, when you see, the amount of new tools that have come out. So we talked about LinkedIn newsletters on the last podcast.
Yeah.
And, that was a very, very small rollout, and I remember posting and saying, I don't have it. Does anybody have it? And very few people had it. I think nobody had it in my direct network. I knew some of the bigger LinkedIn influencers had them. And I do remember someone saying to me, I don't think this is going to go much wider at all. It's going to be very few people that have it. Now, a lot of people now have the LinkedIn newsletter function. So it's free, and you can, for me, it's another great way to utilize or repurpose your email content. So if you're building an email list or you have an email list, you can repurpose that content from your email marketing over onto LinkedIn newsletter. So I've now received lots and lots of invitations to subscribe to other people's newsletters. And obviously I'm being quite selective in who I'm going to subscribe to, because I don't want to be bombarded.
Where do you get the newsletter? Does it come into your LinkedIn inbox, or does it go into your regular inbox?
Yeah, so it comes in to your notifications on LinkedIn, and you can see it there. And it's some of them are brilliant. They're really, really informative. And it's just a great way to repurpose that content. And that's been rolled out. So that's great. If you want to find out if you've got LinkedIn newsletters, go to write an article. So you go to your home feed where you'd create a post, go to write an article. If you open up that section that says write an article, if you have the option to write a newsletter or create a newsletter, it will be in there. So actually I didn't have it. And then I was on one of the, I think it was the last round of Tech Pixies coaching that I did. And I was demonstrating something on LinkedIn and it popped up, and I went in to write an article, and there it was. So I was kind of like talking away, and I was like, oh, I have LinkedIn newsletters. So, so it is there.
And that's one of the reasons we do the live coaching, actually. I mean, we have a self-study membership where there's very limited coaching, 1 call a month. And we have our VIP group coaching where we have coaching calls every week, twice a week, one with life coaching and one with social media coaching. And that is one of the great benefits of that coaching, is we do a little section in that coaching, like what's new this week in this field, in this, on this network, because I sat in on the Facebook one, or I listened to the Facebook replay, and, stuff is changing all the time and things are rolling out all the time. And actually, we create a curriculum, we update that curriculum a couple times a year, but in between the updates, there's updates on the updates. So it's important to,
yeah.
But there's fundamentals, right? I mean, always, we talked about this last year, good profile picture, solid background, smile on your face, great content that introduces you, having your experiences up to date, getting your recommendations, making sure you're adding a note when you're messaging someone, making sure you're not spammy in those messages. Those are fundamentals we should everyone needs to do 100%. If there were 2 or 3 things in addition to the fundamentals that people should be doing in 2022, what are they?
Yeah, now so just to go back there, because there's some really cool new personal profile features that I really think people should be taking advantage of. I think getting your personal profile absolutely spot on is one of the fundamental basics and one of the great ways to improve your presence and maximize your personal brand on the platform, without a doubt. So having a really great profile that's fully completed, you're optimizing all the features. There's a couple of new features that I want to talk about, which are, which I think are great particularly for freelancers as well. So I definitely think making sure that, that's there, that's done. That's a given. I think, if you're going to use LinkedIn, you definitely need to have that. So another thing I think is really, really important on LinkedIn is being strategic about your connections. So not necessarily accepting connection requests from everybody that comes your way. I think it's about connecting strategically. It's about, thinking about who you can connect with that will, whether or not they might be your target client or your target customer, or whether they might have access to your target clients and customers. I think that's really important, rather than just doing blanket requests to lots and lots of people. I can't remember if we talked about that on the last podcast, but
we did talk about being strategic about who you connected with, but also how you spoke to them. Because I read out a couple bad examples of people who sent messages to me. I think, I tend to say yes to almost every woman that requests to join or to be, to connect. I'm a little bit more careful about men, just because very often it's a direct sales pitch, or it's a bit creepy, actually.
Yeah,
there's still the creepy LinkedIn man.
Yeah, you're still seeing a lot of people requesting in that way. I do now, for example, yesterday was a great example. So I went onto the audio event and I got 2 connection requests this morning from people that were also on the audio event, but they had sent their connection requests with a personalized note saying, really interesting to see you on the audio event. What did you think? So that, to me, that's like, that's a brilliant way to connect. So that, and that's a great way to connect with people, but also thinking about strategically growing your own network. So you don't have to accept every connection request that comes your way. You don't have to do that. So I think it's being, thinking carefully about whether or not if you connect with these people, you're going to see their content in your feed. If it's not relevant, then actually, it's not a personal rejection not to accept a connection request. You're just being strategic in how you use the platform. That's all.
What I have noticed is that LinkedIn pushes a lot of the really great trending content, not just of people but like if a lot of people are commenting on something, then you get pulled into the loop. And I love that feature, actually. And one thing that's been really interesting for me in terms of, I think people forget, and this is, I think we all do it unconsciously. It's a subconscious, bias or whatnot. I mean, I even noticed it with, one of the big drives we had in 2021 was to diversify our coaching team, but also our community. And so we introduced the BAME scholarships and the LGBTQ plus scholarships and the 60 plus scholarships to kind of change things around and really make it more representative of society as a whole, but also to, when you have people from diverse cultures and backgrounds, it really enriches the community. And what I found, which was super cool on LinkedIn, was I don't think people realize just how often on their friend requests or their connections, they tend to connect with people that are just like them. And as part of that change in 2020, I mean, we were already making that change in 2020, but we intensified it in 2021. But I also made a real effort to connect on a more diverse level with people from different backgrounds. And what's been great is the way that the algorithm has worked has been really fabulous in connecting me with really powerful people that I never would have connected with if I hadn't made the decision as an individual to diversify the connections I was making. And so, I kind of joke that I only accept female invitations. I don't. I accept male invitations too, but I'm just a little bit more careful about who I accept from a male invitation. But I will say I actively started seeking out connecting with people from different backgrounds because the content that you get is so different and so enriching. And it's really important to have the full 360 degrees. So I would say for anyone who has not tried to connect with people who might be of a different background, you're missing out. And it's really important to do that and to build a community of people from all different backgrounds, all different walks of life, because some of the content, particularly in the last year, that's been super relevant to the BAME community, the LGBTQ plus community, that content is really important. And we really need to be open to it. And I'm finding LinkedIn is a great way to really open up the community that you're connected to. And because it's a virtual community, it's just that much easier to do than even in person. So I'm really grateful for that big shift in 2021.
Yeah, no, I think it is about thinking strategically about who do you want to be networking with? Who do you want to, who's going to help you grow your business, for example, if you're a small business owner. Maybe it's people who are in aligned industries, people that are also serving the same person that you want to serve, for example. So I think there's no point in getting hung up on the connections number with LinkedIn. That's really that's not important. This isn't Instagram. It's not about follower numbers. And obviously I also tell people it's not about the follower number on Instagram as well, but that's a whole different podcast. But it's very much about thinking strategically about who you want to connect with. And I think the third thing I would say, just going back to your 3 points, is that using the platform is wonderful, and connecting on there and sharing really great and really engaging and inspiring content is brilliant. But actually, I think when you're going to really take that next step further, it's about taking it offline. It's about getting into the DMs with somebody and saying, fancy a virtual coffee, and then you just have a chat with somebody, and again, find out what you've got in common, find out how their business is going, find out what kind of challenges they're facing, and I know and you can do that, but then you can take it the next step. You can actually meet in person. So there's people that I interact with on LinkedIn who I then might go out to a networking event and actually see. So I think it's about taking the bigger steps, going deeper with the engagement, and doing that. So that would be my third tip.
I love it. Well, you're full of great tips.
Can I talk a little bit about some of the new features on the personal profile? Because I want to tell you about these, because I think they're quite exciting. The first feature that I see really massively underutilized is the cover story video. So if you go to someone's profile on the mobile, or you'll see if they've got a cover story video, they've got a yellow ring around their profile. So I've got one. Joy, have you got one?
I'm gonna go do that after this.
I'm gonna make you do it after.
This is why I'm doing this podcast. This is how I stay up to date with the trend.
So you can do one with the nice Tech Pixies branding behind your head. It's such a quick and easy feature to get up onto your profile. That's why I want people to do that.
Okay, that's on my to-do list today.
And you've got 30 seconds. So you've got quite a long time. So you've got more than enough time to explain who you are, who you serve, who you help, and how you help them. 30 seconds is actually quite a nice chunk. If you can do it with some nice branding behind you, like you've got the Tech Pixies logo there, that would be, that will just be amazing.
My color coordinated bookshelf. How do you like that?
Yeah, I was going to say, you put them in color, Rach. I love that.
It's all the rage in America. I went there in October, and they're like, "Have you seen the home edit? Oh, you need to do that." I do love it. Actually,
I did notice it while you were talking. Actually, so yeah, and what I am also seeing people doing, which I haven't done on my own yet, but I will swap it over, is what can be like kind of what will take it to the next level is to add subtitles. So caption it. So there's various different apps that you can use for that. But if you can caption it as well, great. You're reaching those people that need the captions, or people that actually play everything in silent mode. So I really want people to do that. And to do that, you go to the mobile, you click on your profile photo, and then you've got should have the option to create the cover story video.
This is the yellow circle challenge. Beth Kirk is challenging you all to do the yellow circle.
If people want to have a look, they can have a look at mine on my profile. It's just me sitting here in this chair saying what I do, who I help. I haven't got captions on mine yet, hands up. But I, use a captioning app if you can do that and have that there. I just think it's a really nice way to build a deeper connection with your audience. To show them that you're just you are a very personable human being, you're professional. And then the other new feature to talk about is you can now add a services page on your personal profile.
Nice.
Yeah. Now this is really interesting because I went and did this very early on when the feature first came out. Now it's a section that you add at the top of your profile, and it's basically the services page. what you then do is you put in the services that you provide to other people. So if you're a graphic designer, you put in that you do graphic design, maybe you do content creation or branding design, etc. Then you also have a section to put some information about yourself. You can also, within that section, ask for recommendations from other people. So this is another place on your profile to add recommendations or request recommendations, and you get up to 20. So I've reached out. I've got a couple on mine there from some recent clients. Now, what happens is your services page then goes into the LinkedIn services marketplace. Okay, and people can go there. So if you go to linkedin.com/services and search for a particular profession, or if you typed in social media marketer, you'll get a whole list of social media marketers that will and you will feature within that list. So if you're going looking for graphic designer, you'll feature. Now it's brilliant. I think it's a great way to for another place for people to find you. What happens is if someone's searching for a service on that marketplace, they can come in and they can look at that service page. Now, without connecting with you, they can message you from there. Okay, so even if you're not connected, they can message you.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, which I think that's really, really good. They'll also see if you've got mutual connections, and they'll also see those ratings and those recommendations if you've got them there as well. So I wanted to tell
for those of you who are watching live, I'm just going to pull Beth's feed on because I want to show that, because I think it's super cool. For those of you who are watching, I'm on her profile, beautiful profile, nicely branded photos. And then she's got her yellow circle going on there. Yeah. And then she's got the she, her here with the pronunciation. Is that the pronunciation of your name?
Yeah, so that's 10 seconds, that is. And if you can click on, will it play? I suppose we don't want it to play, do it, if we're live. But if you click on the my profile picture, it might play and people can just see. Yeah, so that's my cover story video. Social media marketing professional, and I'm the founder.
That is so cool. And it's so beautiful too, because it's nice. And then you've got your providing services, and then you've also got this open to work, which is really cool.
Yeah, but go into the providing services. So you're going. So now you can see this is like a separate area. So you can
it's like Elance. You can request a proposal.
Yeah. So you can if you've got, so there's the section, the about section. You've got the services provided, and then you can see that I've got a couple of reviews in there from some clients that I've
And are these reviews showing up on your main page as well?
No, they only show here. So you have to request these reviews from this section, and you can see
that is really cool. I really love
you
this.
Get up to 20 credits in there, to 20 opportunities to request reviews. I don't know if they'll increase that, or I don't know, but part of me thinks, well, the reviews are very hidden in here, but then because this goes into the LinkedIn services marketplace, that's great, because I suppose somebody searching for me would see them.
And then show me again, how do I find the services section?
So if you go to linkedin.com/services.
Oh, just go. Okay, so I'm just going to take the end of that off, and then we've got the services.
So now, okay, so if you type
so
if type in I don't know, social media marketer, see what comes up.
Oops, I guess we have to select the service that exists. There we go, social media marketing.
Oh yeah, okay, go for that.
Oh, very cool. Okay, so then apologies if you're listening on the podcast, you might want to go watch the video. Okay, so you can see, so you can get proposals, you can go and you can look at all the locations. Yeah, I mean, it's like Elance basically. I mean, it's just but it's on LinkedIn. I love it.
Yeah, so it's still relatively new.
Hey, look, we got a Tech Pixie on there.
Amazing. Yeah, and I think the only thing I was thinking is if it can be filtered down to the UK, for example. I think that's where. There we go. So she's got her services in there.
Yeah, but needs some recommendations. Okay, well, this is so cool. This is really cool.
So if you go back up to location, Joy, let's just have a look up there. So I'm just wondering, because
it'd be nice if you could. Oh, these are all the cities in America. And
so I think and I did hear a big LinkedIn influencer talking about this, saying actually it needs some refining. You need to be able to search by the location relevant to you, rather than just saying like a broad brush. But I think adopt these features early. Get on top of them. Get your presence out there. Make sure that you're featuring, so that
Louise says this is gold, Beth.
Oh, thank you, Louise. Thank you.
Louise, we have amazing coaches at Tech Pixies. And I want to just thank you, Beth. You always come with a smile on your face, and you have some fantastic tips for us. And you really do know LinkedIn in and out. And I just absolutely love that about you. And you have a constant curiosity for all the new stuff. And it's so great. So thank you for today. Did we miss out on any top tips? Because this is a tip packed episode. I want to make sure we don't leave any behind.
I don't think so. I think the only thing
I'm using it. I think that's the end of the day. Is LinkedIn is still a worthy network to be used.
Yeah, and I think the final thing I would add is add the personal side of it into things as well. I do often. I did a post about.
Yeah, I saw your post about you were running, and you're like, should I include personal stuff? Absolutely. Yeah. I think right.
As long as it's as long as it's professional, relatively professional, or it's linked to your, it's linked to your, what you do, linked to your personal brand. And I think I put that in my post. I think. I shared, I celebrated my 100th part run. Anyone that knows me knows I'm very much about, I love my running. I love my outdoor stuff, and I like going to I love going to park run, and I like going to a lot of other outdoor, kind of fitness type things. So it is my personal brand. That is part of me. Yes, it's not directly related to work, but it makes me the person that I am. So and that's my point on the post, is that keep it relevant to your personal brand, share that kind of thing, and just go for it. It's you've got to try different types of content. There was some wonderful personal stories being shared last year on the This Little Girl Is Me campaign, the hashtag This Little Girl Is Me, which was a campaign started by Girls International. And there were some amazing stories. I think if anyone wants to go and have a look at that campaign, just go and type in hashtag This Little Girl Is Me, and you'll see all the different content that was being shared underneath that hashtag, and you'll see how well it performed.
Amazing!
And that was about that was the personal story of women in business, I'd say women in business on the platform. And people
don't you think the personal sides had to come out as well, because we don't have the opportunity to hang out on a personal level? Like, when we go to marketing events and we talk to people, or we go to events and you talk to people, you get into, yes, I do park run, and you talk, and then you kind of make those connections naturally. But because we don't have the ability to do that right now, I've gone to one networking event in the last year, and that was the Digital Women Awards. And even that was, everyone was a little bit tentative, and you sort of hung out with one or two people the whole night because you didn't want to, kind of connect too many. So I think we are doing the more personal stuff on LinkedIn right now, because there is not another way to connect. But I think you're right. I think it can be strategically placed, and I think it can really share a little bit about you. And, people buy from people, they connect with people. And, Stu McLaren talks about this all the time. He's got an adopted child, and that is a automatic entry point and connection with a lot of people who are either adopted or who've adopted themselves, or who've tried to adopt. And, I think, and if you're a Peloton person, you're going to connect with other Peloton people. If you're a triathlete, you're going to connect with other triathlon people. We connect based on our interests, not just based on our businesses. But when we have other common areas, it does deepen that connection, which I think is so important. But listen, we are so excited about these trends. Social media is not going away. So we need to continue to learn how to use it, and women in particular need to upskill and be confident in it. And that's what we're all about, and making sure that women feel comfortable using it, because you will advance in your career and in your business and in your life if you do know how to leverage it properly. And I love using the word leverage. No one uses that word with social media. I think we were the ones that started using that word that way. And I've always continued to use it, because you are leveraging it. You are using it to your advantage and making it work for you, just like you would have an employee work for you or somebody else helping you get out there. That's how these social media networks work. So thank you, Beth, for all of your wonderful insights and for just being you and coming onto the podcast and giving us some wonderful LinkedIn insights.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. If anyone wants to come and connect with me, you know where to find me on LinkedIn. But yeah, it's been a pleasure, Joy. And, I think LinkedIn's going to carry on doing some more exciting stuff this year. So that would be great. Thanks, Andrea. I love seeing the comments pop up. It's brilliant.
I know, they're so great. They're so great. Well, thank you again. And we'll see you, I guess we'll see you around in the coaching. You're up next week, I believe, in our, and of course, when the podcast comes out, you're probably already gone. But thanks again. And everyone have a wonderful, wonderful weekend and stay COVID-free if you can. And if you can't, then take care of yourself. We're thinking about you.
Bye.